them all what I'm made up. Strut down the hall, won't stop till I get enough.
All right, so today we're diving into something pretty interesting, I think.
Yeah.
It's been making headlines all over.
Mm-hmm.
The Wisconsin Supreme Court election.
Big one.
It is a big one. And we've got some excerpts here from an AP News article.
Okay.
Fresh from Tuesday, April 1st, 2025.
Hot off the presses.
Hot off the presses, yeah. And we really want to kind of like unpack this and see what we can learn from it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why is this such a big deal?
You wouldn't think a state Supreme Court election
Right.
would be a big deal, but this one has
Layers.
some layers to it, some national implications too.
Yeah. Okay, so let's start with the basics.
Right.
We had Susan Crawford.
Right.
She's a judge from Dane County, backed by the Democrats. And then we had Brad Schimel,
Yeah.
who was the challenger, backed by the Republicans.
Mm-hmm.
But it feels like this was more than just
Oh, yeah.
two people
Way more.
going head-to-head.
Way more. This was
The proxy war.
almost like a preview of what's to come in the national elections.
Okay.
So the Wisconsin Supreme Court, like every state Supreme Court,
Right.
has a lot of power
Yeah.
in interpreting the law, especially when it comes to elections.
Oh, especially in Wisconsin,
Especially in Wisconsin.
which has been so close.
So close. Yeah, I mean,
Every time.
it always comes down to the wire.
Yeah.
And so who's on that court
Right.
really matters for how those elections are run and how any disputes are settled.
Right. And just so everybody remembers, the result of this election means that the court now has a liberal majority
Yes.
for at least the next 3 years.
Yeah, a 4-3 majority.
Wow.
So pretty significant shift there
Huge.
in the balance.
Yeah. Okay. So big stakes, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But what really stands out to me
Yeah.
was the amount of outside involvement.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, Elon Musk
Oh, no.
putting his own money behind Schimel,
Yeah.
and then he gets Trump to endorse Schimel.
That's a powerful combination.
I mean, those are two really, really big names in Republican politics.
Yeah, I mean, they don't get much bigger than that.
Right.
Especially in that world.
And then on the other side,
Yeah.
you have Crawford
Uh-huh.
with endorsements from people like Obama,
Yep. Yeah, former President Obama.
and then she's getting money from George Soros
Right.
and J.B. Pritzker, the governor of Illinois.
Yep. So you've got all these huge names.
It's like a national election.
It is. It feels like a microcosm of the national political scene.
Yeah. Okay. So results.
Okay.
Susan Crawford won
She did.
the election, which took place Tuesday, April 1st, 2025.
Right.
As we said, she's a judge in Dane County.
Mm-hmm.
And this win means that, as we were saying earlier,
Right.
the liberal majority on the Wisconsin Supreme Court is solidified.
Yes. It's solidified for a while because this 4-3 majority has been in place since 2023.
Okay.
And no liberal justice is up for re-election until 2028.
So that's a long time.
That's a long time. Yeah.
All right.
So
Wow.
this Crawford win really ensures that ideological makeup of the court for quite a while.
Yeah. And that's going to affect kinds of cases they choose to hear,
Absolutely.
the decisions they make.
It's going to have a ripple effect on legal issues in the state.
Definitely. Okay. But let's talk about the money involved, because this is where it gets crazy.
It's crazy.
Brennan Center for Justice is reporting
Yeah.
almost $99 million.
I can't even fathom that.
$99 million
It's an insane amount of money
on a state Supreme Court race.
for a state Supreme Court race. Yeah.
That is unheard of,
I mean, think about it. It's almost double.
right?
The previous record, which was $51 million back in 2023,
That's still a huge amount of money,
it is, but this is
but this is double.
almost double. Yeah.
So that just shows you how much attention
Mhm.
this race was getting.
Yeah. And how divisive it was.
And where did a lot of that money come from? Elon Musk.
A good chunk of it came from Elon Musk.
He put $3 million directly into Schimel's campaign.
Yep, straight into the camera.
And then get this.
Yeah.
Groups that he funds put in another $18 million.
Yeah, so we're talking at least 21 million.
At least
yeah.
connected to Musk.
Yeah, it's pretty unusual.
I mean, that's a lot of money for anyone to put into a state judicial race.
Yeah, especially someone who's not even from the state.
Right. And it wasn't just the money. It was how public he was about it.
Yeah, he was very vocal.
He went to Wisconsin right before the election
Yeah, just a few days before.
and was literally handing out $1 million checks.
I know, to 2 Wisconsin voters.
Like,
What? I mean, that's unheard of.
It's like he was trying to make them into like spokespeople for him.
Exactly, like trying to buy influence.
Right. And he was saying that this election was crucial to Trump's agenda.
Yeah, he was really hyping it up.
And he even said it was about the future of civilization.
Oh my gosh.
Like, come on.
Yeah, that's a bit much.
That's a bit much
A bit hyperbolic.
for a state Supreme Court race.
You usually hear that kind of talk
Right.
in a presidential election.
Yeah.
Not a state judicial race.
So it's interesting because the article mentions that after Crawford won,
Yeah.
Musk went silent on X
Yeah, kids.
about the election.
I know he didn't say anything about it.
Nothing.
He was posting about Vietnam and tariffs.
It's like he just wanted to move on.
Yeah, maybe he was disappointed,
Yeah.
or maybe he just didn't want to draw any more attention to it
Yeah.
after his candidate lost.
Interesting. Okay, so on the other side, we had Crawford
Mm-hmm.
with support from, like we said, Obama,
Yep.
George Soros,
Mm-hmm. Big money backing her, too.
big money backing her, and then Donald Trump Jr.
Oh, yeah.
was campaigning for Schimel.
Yeah, so you've got that.
So it really was national.
It was a national battle playing out on a state level.
Okay, so let's get into the issues.
All right.
What was actually at stake for the people of Wisconsin?
Yeah, what were people actually voting about?
One of the biggest ones, abortion rights.
Huge issue.
Huge, Crawford.
Yeah.
Really focused on Schimel's anti-abortion stance.
Right, especially in her ads.
Yeah. And she had a lot of support from Planned Parenthood.
Mm-hmm. And other pro-choice groups.
And I mean, with everything that's going on national,
Oh, yeah, this is a hot button issue.
this was a huge issue for Wisconsin voters.
Absolutely.
Another big one, public sector unions.
Right. Crawford has a history of fighting for unions.
Yeah, she's been in a lot of legal battles
Mm-hmm.
trying to protect their power.
Yeah, and this is important because there's that GOP-backed law
Right.
that really limited collective bargaining rights.
For most public workers.
For most public workers, yeah. And Schimel was expected to uphold that law.
So for people who work in the public sector
Yeah.
or care about workers' rights,
Mhm.
this was a big deal.
This election had very real implications for them.
And then, of course, we have to talk about voting rules.
Oh, yeah. In a state like Wisconsin,
Right.
that's so close.
So close.
Every election.
Yeah.
The Supreme Court has a huge role in interpreting election laws.
Right. And settling any disputes.
Any legal challenges
Right.
that come up,
So basically,
they can have a big impact on how elections are run in the future.
exactly. And in a state where elections are often decided by
Tiny margins.
a handful of votes.
Right.
The way the Supreme Court interprets those laws
Right.
carries enormous weight.
Like voter ID laws,
Mm-hmm.
absentee ballots.
Yep. All that stuff.
All that could end up for the court.
Absolutely.
And then we have redistricting.
Oh, yeah. The redistricting battle.
Schimel and Musk were saying that if Crawford won,
Yeah.
it would lead to Democrats redrawing the congressional maps
In their favor.
in their favor to give them an advantage.
Right. Classic gerrymandering accusations.
Right. And then Crawford was hitting back, saying that Schimel was too close to the Republicans.
Yeah. And that he would do the same thing
Yeah, basically.
if he won. So both sides were accusing each other of wanting to rig the system.
Yeah, it's a common tactic.
But it shows you how important redistricting is.
Oh, yeah.
Because whoever controls the maps
Yeah.
controls the elections.
It can have a huge impact on the balance of power.
Yeah.
And the Supreme Court often ends up being the referee in these disputes.
Right, because they have to decide if the maps are fair.
Right. They have to make sure the maps comply with the law.
And that's not always easy.
No, it's a very complex issue.
It is. Okay, so I think it's interesting to look at some individual voters
Yeah.
and why they voted the way they did.
Yeah. Let's get some real people in here.
Because it gives you a better idea
Mm-hmm.
of what was going on.
Yeah, it's more than just the big names
Right.
and the big money.
So there's this guy, Jim Seeger.
Okay.
He's 68, a retiree,
Right.
and he votes for Schimel
Okay.
because he was worried about the Democrats
Yeah.
redrawing the maps.
The redistricting issue.
Yeah, so that was his main
Yeah,
concern.
vexed us.
And then there's Jim Hazelton,
Right.
also 68, a disabled veteran,
Okay.
and he wasn't even going to vote.
Oh, wow.
But then he saw Musk and Trump
Yeah.
getting involved,
And that pushed him over the edge.
and he voted for Crawford
Interesting.
because he didn't like Musk getting involved.
You didn't like the outside influence.
Yeah, he called Musk a pushy billionaire,
Oh, wow.
and he was worried about what Musk would do.
Yeah, like what kind of policies he would push for.
So it's interesting how that backfired.
Yeah. Sometimes those big endorsements
Right.
can actually hurt.
Then you have Taylor Sullivan.
Okay.
He's 39, an Iraq War veteran,
All right.
and he voted for Schimel
Okay.
because he supports the police,
Okay.
and he feels that Schimel supports the police.
All right. So that was his main issue.
Yeah, and he said it had nothing to do with Trump or Musk.
Interesting.
So that's important to remember.
Yeah.
A lot of people are still voting on local issues
Right.
and local endorsements.
Yeah. Their own individual priorities.
And then there's Kenneth Gifford,
Okay.
22-year-old college student.
All right.
And he voted for Crawford
Okay.
because he feels that Trump has damaged American institutions
Right.
and that Musk is trying to buy votes. And he said he wants a respectable democracy.
So he's concerned about the influence of wealth.
Yeah, and the polarization of politics.
Yeah, it's a common sentiment these days.
So you can see from these examples that there are a lot of different reasons why people voted the way they did.
It's a complex electorate
It is.
with a lot of different motivations.
Okay, so after all the votes were counted, Schimel conceded.
He did.
And there was this moment during his speech
Yeah.
where one of his supporters started chanting, "Cheater, cheater."
Oh, wow.
But Schimel told his supporters to accept the results.
That's important.
It is.
Especially these days
Right.
when so many people are questioning election results.
Yeah, it was a good example of respecting the democratic process.
Yes, even when you lose.
And on a lighter note,
Yeah.
the article says that Schimel, who's a musician,
Oh, cool.
played bass with his band at his election night party
I love that.
before and after conceding.
That's awesome.
So I guess he's taken it well.
Yeah, seems like a good sport.
Yeah. So to bring it back to why this election got so much national attention,
Yeah, why was everyone so focused on this?
Trump himself said, and I'm quoting here,
Okay.
Wisconsin's a big state politically, and the Supreme Court has a lot to do with elections in Wisconsin winning. Wisconsin's a big deal, so therefore, the Supreme Court choice, it's a big race.
Yeah, I mean, he's not wrong.
He's not wrong?
Wisconsin is a crucial swing state,
Yeah.
and the Supreme Court there can have a big impact on national elections.
So people were watching this race
Mm-hmm.
to see what it might say about the national political climate.
Yeah, like, is Trump still influential?
Right.
Can figures like Musk sway voters?
Right.
It was seen as a test case.
And the fact that the Democrat won,
Yeah, despite all that money.
despite all that money.
On the other side.
Yeah, people are going to be analyzing that for a while.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so the big takeaway here,
Yeah.
Susan Crawford's victory in the Wisconsin Supreme Court election
Mm-hmm.
means there's a liberal majority on that court
For the next few years.
for the next few years. And this is going to have a real impact on things like abortion rights,
Yeah,
public sector unions, and how elections are run in Wisconsin.
absolutely.
And the crazy amount of money that was spent
Take all the national attention.
shows you how politicized
Mm-hmm.
these judicial races are becoming.
It's a trend we're seeing all over the country.
Yeah. And it's something to be concerned about
Definitely.
because it raises questions about the impartiality of the courts.
Right. Are they supposed to be neutral?
Right.
Or are they just another political battleground?
Exactly. So that's something for everyone to think about.
Yeah.
As we see more and more of these high-stakes judicial elections,
It's a trend that's not going away.
what does it mean for our democracy?
Yeah, what does it mean for the future of the judiciary?
That's the question.
It's a big one,
It is.
and it's one that we need to keep asking.
Sound the alarm. I'm coming up. We'll have a ball. I'm sweet like a buttercup. You're a Barbie doll. Show them all what I'm made of. Strut down the hall. Won't stop till I get enough.